Top 5 scary videos caught on camera. Number 5. Child possession. A man named Arash who lives somewhere in Malaysia says that his house has been invaded by some type of spiritual entity, and that as the days turn into weeks, the entity becomes more and more aggressive. One day when Arash came home from work, he heard a bang come from one of his rooms despite nobody being home at the time, and decides to record. Let's see what he captured.
Wow, rentak balik
Afnan tells us that he thought that it was just one of his children playing a prank on him, yet when he pulls back the curtains, nobody is there. This unfortunately is not where the strange things stop. What was this pale white hand reaching from the inside of the cupboard? There's certainly no room for any kind of person to be in there.
Dubis! Masuk! Dubis! Kenapa Dubis selalu main dengan dia tu?
Kalau Papa nak tahu, Papa bukan dia. Papa Dubis main dengan siapa tu?
Ambil dia pergi masuk bilik. Masuk bilik dulu. Assalamualaikum!
Arash's son seems to be playing with someone or something that couldn't possibly be there, and he is too young to understand that something truly horrifying could be happening here. But for now, what do you guys think? Is there something truly haunting in this house, or is it all just some clever trick? Number 4. The Hanging Man. Ricky Eats World on TikTok recently has been the victim of some strange and disturbing paranormal events. One day Ricky noticed that his son had started to act strangely around the house and seemed to be talking to someone who was not there. When asked about who he was talking to, the young boy, whose name is Elliot, says the hanging man in the corner of the room. Elliot says that the hanging man doesn't let him sleep and wakes him up in the middle of the night. Ricky, who is unsure of what is really going on here, decides to set up a camera in his son's room to watch him whilst he sleeps. And what was captured is truly horrifying. After seeing this, Ricky goes right into Elliot's room, and this is how he found him.
Elliot, what are you doing, man?
Stuck.
Oh, okay.
Ricky decides that it is for the best if Elliot goes to live elsewhere for a while whilst he figures out what on earth is happening in his home, yet the activity does not stop.
So it's on the way home, and I swear to God there is whirling coming from the cupboard. Hello? Oh, for God's sake. Hello? light isn't working. Oh. Hello?
Despite thoroughly going through this cupboard, he finds nothing that could have been making the bangs on the door, which leaves him bewildered for days. That is until something happens which leaves him with no doubt that something evil is residing in his home.
So it's the middle of the night, and there's a wailing coming from the bathroom. Everybody's asleep. Hello? The chair's just flushed. Is there anybody there? Hello? So this is 9 o'clock at night. Not even that late, and I'm hearing something. Whoa! Hello?
Eventually, Elliot had to return home, and this is where things truly take a turn for the worse.
I sit by myself, talking to the moon. Ricky!
Elliot is singing alone in his room when we see a creepy figure move just beyond the curtain, scaring Elliot, making him run out of the room calling for his father. This figure seems to have no legs, which could explain why Elliot sees the man as hanging, yet others just say that this was another person hiding behind the curtain. But what do you guys think? Is this boy really seeing paranormal entities? You tell me. Number 3. The Spirit of Lawless. A woman somewhere in Mexico is being interviewed as part of a paranormal investigation involving this woman's deceased daughter, Lawless. She says that whenever she goes to visit her girl's grave, she always feels as though she is being watched, and that on occasions she thinks she has seen the apparition of a little girl. In this video, this paranormal investigator is visiting Lawless's gravesite in the hopes of capturing anything that the mother had described to her, and this is what she saw.
La de que Loli se sigue apareciendo aquí entre las tumbas del lugar. Ya muchas personas la han visto, se ha vuelto toda una leyenda en este sitio. Vamos a pasar. Mucho silencio. Vamos a regresar nuevamente a la tumba, porque ahí dejamos los dulces. Quiero ver si pasó algo. Cuidado aquí, mire, cuidado. Cuidado. Cuidado aquí, mire, cuidado. Cuidado.
The ghostly shape of a small child is seen walking through the graveyard, causing an immediate terrified reaction from this woman. Was this the ghost of Lawless or something else? Whoever it was, I'm just glad that this woman got out of there before things potentially got out of hand. Number 2. The Rooftop Rake. One day, a man who lives in the forest in an unknown location started to hear some strange noises coming from his roof. Expecting some type of raccoon or other wild animal, he goes outside to investigate. Let's see.
So we were just laying here watching the office by the window up here, and we're on the second floor. And I mean, we hear noises out here pretty often, but you can see how high up we are. We hear hear noises out here, but nothing like what we just heard, so I think it might be worth looking into. I gotta get a flashlight. I can't see anything. I can't really describe exactly what it sounded like, but almost like some kind of a screech. I don't know, maybe some kind of bird, but it was definitely up there. Also, earlier we were hearing some heavy, like thuds, and I don't know if you'd say steps or whatever, but it's like something was scurrying across. I thought it was just squirrels or something, but it could be something heavier. I might have to go down and take a look up. What the fuck is that? What in the fuck? Wait a minute. Hey! Where'd it go? The hell? So yeah, what do you think? Should I go out there?
No, please.
Is there something on the roof? I gotta figure out what it is. Like, we can't just leave it up there. It could climb in the window in the middle of the night and kill us.
I don't know. I say.
Screw it. Well, I gotta go up there. I decided I gotta go out there. So I don't know where the hell that thing went, but it's gone off the ridge. Alright, sorry it's gonna be shaky. Gotta get out there somehow.
pale clammy looking head can be seen poking its head over his roof. Whatever this thing is, it barely looks human, and even if it was, definitely not anyone sane. Most viewers have turned to this being a cryptid sighting, in particular the Rake, due to this head's glaring similarities to it. I personally cannot see what this is, and if it was a human, what would it be doing in the middle of the woods at this time of night? I guess we will never really know. what this was. Now let's see what's in store for the last video of today.
Anybody in here?
I can't believe we're back in here, dude.
Alright, so we can lock that door and just go on. We're good?
No, we're not good. We're in here. Let's go. Come on, dude.
Dude, like, how long? Okay? I already feel like I'm like being stared at everywhere I look. How long?
As long as it takes.
Stay cautious, right?
No, you ain't gotta tell me. You already know.
Also, by the way, I mean, if you start to feel weird, if you start feeling weird, we should probably just go. Because, you know, that's like what happened to me before. When I started feeling all weird and like hot and everything, and started mad and stuff.
But behind you, Dale. Behind you. Light. It's not the same one.
Is this real? That's not that light.
It's not the same one.
So you like messing with it still?
We're back. What do you think about that?
What do you want me to know?
Go.
Sorry if I'm a little... It's these lights back here, but this one right here won't even turn on all the way. Well, I guess I'll play with you and turn the light off. That's what you want to do, right? Play a fun light game.
Oh my God. Dale.
Please tell me you got that. Right?
I did.
You got that?
I did.
Back to your old ways, huh? Playing with some chairs? Musical chairs type shit?
Why is it always the chairs? Remember, like in one of our original videos, there was like a fan like right here, and it looked like a shadow figure right here. There was a lot of people saying that they saw something here.
Well, we're back. What's up?
Maybe I should just try to get pictures of around here too.
Okay, yeah. Good. And then
hold on. Let me try to get pictures. I should have took pictures where it was cold.
Go ahead.
Dude, how crazy is that? Dude, I told you that taking pictures
that's got to be one of the best finds, like on a photo that we've ever gotten, and it'd be that clear.
Yes.
With that camera.
Yes. The long exposures is the way to go, guys.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the screen and show y'all what we're talking about. Dude, it was so freaking cool and pretty clear, and it's so...
Oh my God. Dale,
see?
I told you. It's the piano, dude. Oh my God.
Okay.
Dale.
I don't give a damn what you're doing. I'm going.
Oh my God.
I don't care what you're doing.
Oh. Wait, you're leaving me in here.
I'm going. I don't care what you're doing. Whatever. I'm not doing this. I already told you. No, I ain't doing this. This is stupid.
Hello and thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel further, please remember to like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. And also, follow the social media accounts linked in the bio down below.